All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back with another video. So we all have those days when, we know what we're supposed to be doing and we just don't feel like doing it. So I was thinking of doing a push workout today, but I just wasn't feeling it. And like I always say, there's no days off. So this is a video with a lot of stretching and a lot of me just working on weaknesses and things I know I should be working on. For example, here, this is for planche strength. So this is for my shoulders. I'm not exactly hollow body, but I'm leaning a little bit into the hollow body position. Here I'm doing a little bit of squats. This is nothing more than just trying to get some blood flow into the legs because I do want to do some stretching and I want to focus on my sciatica pain. So if you've been watching my previous videos, you know that I'm dealing with some hamstring pain, which I believe is sciatica in my left leg. So anyways, that's just to get the legs ready for some stretching. This particular exercise, it's been a while since I've done it, but I know gymnasts do it before they do planche work. A little bit of stretching involved in here, a little bit of scapular pull-ups. It's all in high speed, so it looks kind of funny. But on those days when you want to have an off day, I feel like it's a good idea to work on weaknesses and just kind of doing an assessment of your body. Do you have any aches? Do you have any pains? Is there anything that you have to work out? Anything you've been neglecting? So, I try to work on all these small little muscles that aren't so important. Aren't so visible and look unimportant, but are actually very important. So like the scapular muscles, so rotator cuff and subscap, serratus anterior, all of these muscles which are not that visible, but for calisthenics they're very powerful muscles. So I did a lot of sets of this sort of planche type movement, and I'm stepping forward and back to try to make it a little bit more difficult. I thought it was okay. It was actually kind of tough for me to go harder or higher than that. And then, in between sets, I'm just stretching the muscles out. You can see I'm going side to side, just trying to get some activation in there. But how about yourself? What are you guys doing when you have an off day, or, you don't feel like working out that day? What do you take a completely day off, or do you still push through the workout? If you guys are pushing through workouts, I think that's awesome. But working on some kind of weaknesses as well, shouldn't be overlooked. So here again, it's my sciatic issue. So I'm rolling it out, trying to stretch it out. But the right side is pretty normal. I have pretty good flexibility in the right side, but it's my left side that hinders me so much. A little bit of wrists. Wrists are actually, probably my biggest weakness. So I do wrist stretching daily. Just in general, I think daily stretching is super important. We have pretty sedentary lifestyles these days. So, a lot of sitting, working at a desk, and then we sleep for 8 hours. So I think we should be stretching on a daily basis. It doesn't have to be ballistic and trying to get the splits every day, but we should be lengthening the muscles, if anything, just because as we age things tend to tighten up. And I'm starting to realize this because I'm not as flexible as I used to be. I used to pretty much be able to do the front splits on both legs. Now I don't even want to try it, but that's because I have my leg issue. So here I'm going up against the wall doing some butterfly stretching. For me, I don't know why this is, but it's really difficult for me to lean forward. Whatever my legs are doing, it's pushing me back into the door. No matter how hard I try, it's really hard for me to lean forward. I don't know, whenever I'm in a yoga class, I can see women, they bend right over and they can put their head on their feet. I can't come anywhere close to that. So anyway, working on a lot of, like I said, I did this is all in high speed, but I think I probably did about at least an hour and a half of rolling around on the floor here. And you probably can't tell when I do that split stretch, but my right side doesn't feel any pain at all. It's like a 0 out of 10, where the left side is like a 10 out of 10. So it's very unbalanced. This stretch I think I'm getting better at, pushing down on my knees, which is good. It's always been a hard stretch for me, or a painful stretch for me. So getting into the lotus position and those type of cool moves has always been a challenge for me. This forward stretch, I'm trying to curve my spine. So I do it both ways. I try to do it with a very straight back, but then I also do it with a curved spine. I think it's good to do both. I think the curved spine method, although it looks really bad and a lot of people will say it probably could injure your spine, I'm not against the curved spine. You can see I have kind of like and especially at this angle, you can see I have a very pronounced curve. But I feel like that's just part of the process. Once I gain more flexibility, it's going to slowly but surely straighten out. But while you're learning the stretch, a bit of curvature in the spine, I don't think is going to hurt it. That's just my opinion on that. You can let me know if you've learned your pike stretch with a perfectly straight back, then I commend you for that, because it's not an easy thing to do. But for me personally, like I said, I do both. I try to do it with a straight back just to get that muscle memory action going on, but then I also do it with a curved back, because I feel like I can make a little bit more progress when I curve the back. It just pulls the entire spine a little bit more, evenly. But anyway, we have to work on our weaknesses. And if I would have done a regular old push workout, I would have neglected these things that I need to work on. I definitely wouldn't have put this much time into my sciatic pain, my leg, which is why I'm doing all of these leg stretches. It's basically just to fix this sciatic issue I have. It's been bothering me for, oh my God, I don't know, it feels like 6 months now. And you can see I'm jamming my finger into they're like, what can I say, like metal cables for hamstrings. They're so wiry and tight. I don't know what to do about it. I mean, I didn't film everything in this video, but I actually do an exercise where I put my heel down on my bed or on my bars that are there, and I just push the heel down into something, and it activates the hamstring. I do that for 5 seconds, relax, push hard. It's kind of like PNF stretching, but without stretching down further each time. So I just push my heel down, relax, push my heel down, relax. So that seems to help a little bit, in terms of regaining strength. I do feel like the pain is diminishing a little bit, but the process is just so slow. I mean, I don't know what to do about it. But anyway, like I said, working on weaknesses is, it's good to do on your off days. If you could do it every day, that would be great too. It's like for me, my hamstring, I do a little bit every day, but I definitely wouldn't have done as much as I'm doing today. So, if you have any pains or aches or things that are bothering you, just doing a body assessment, do a sort of a scan, how are my ankles? How are my wrists? Do I have any issues with my neck? Sometimes we sort of block it out of our mind and we sort of forget, or we want to forget. My ankle is kind of like that. I have, to be honest, I twisted my ankle about 3 months ago. I slipped in my dress shoes when I was going to work on a slope and twisted my ankle a little bit, and it's actually been bothering me. It's on the same side as my sciatic pain, and that's another thing I'm kind of neglecting. It's there, it's getting better, but it's just something that I don't really notice it because I have other issues and other things I'm thinking about. But then if I was asked to, consciously think of any issues I have in my body that are bothering me, it's like, oh yeah, I do have that ankle issue that's bothering me. So, don't neglect these things. So for my ankle, I do stretch it out. This video is in high speed. You can't really see me do a lot of ankle stuff, but to be honest, I do stretch the ankle, and I do circles for it, and I try to get rid of this glitch that's in it. But I would advise all of you to do the same sort of thing, just to see what's bothering you, where do you need to put extra time, where do you need to put extra work. And on those days when you don't want to do, or you don't have the energy to do a full hardcore workout, maybe take some time and try to work on whatever things are bothering you, or whatever things are exceptionally tight. Like I said, wrists for me is a big one. I'm not sure if this is a good exercise or not, but I've done it in previous videos. I'm just trying to flex my wrists back as hard as possible. Even this move, this false grip on the left side, is a little bit painful for me. So I lack mobility, I lack strength in the wrists. So doing this, you can see like that is my max extension, which to me is pretty pathetic. So I did about, 4 or 5 minutes of this. This is all in high speed, but I'm working on my weaknesses, and I try to make it a daily thing, but I am putting more time into it today, just because I didn't want to do my dips and my push-ups. But anyways, after this wrist warm-up, or these wrist exercises, I went into my handstands, which has been quite a while since I've done them, to be honest. I was doing them every day, sometimes even 2 or 3 times a day, but I took a few days off of doing my handstands, and you probably can't tell in this video from my bad angle, but I think they are getting a little bit better. And one small adjustment I feel like I'm making is I spaced my hands just a little bit wider than normal. And I always heard from, I had a gymnast friend back in the day, and he told me that it's better to practice your handstands with your arms closer together. And so I always thought that was the best way of doing them. And my hands, they weren't that close together, but they were, I guess, perfectly straight down, like kind of shoulder width. In this video, you can kind of see, again, I apologize for the bad angle, but that my arms, or my hands, are just a little bit outside my shoulders. And I felt like that was a little bit more stable. Again, my handstands are still not good, but this position was a little bit better for me. If you're working on handstands, give that a shot. Just a little bit, like I'm talking like half an inch out, and see if that makes a difference. I think I also turned my hands and my fingers out just a hair. I still like to keep my fingers forward because that's the area where I have a lot of weakness and I want to work on that. But in maybe not in this one, but in some of my handstands, my fingers are turned out just a hair. So anyway, these small modifications may help you hold that handstand just a bit longer. Again, I was pretty pleased with these handstands. I felt like I was able to pull away from the wall for a few seconds longer than my other days. Maybe that was due to some of the handstand work I had done before, which was pressed up against the door. I didn't do any of those today. I just tried to do a freestanding handstand today. I still realize that my left elbow bends, but that's because of my left wrist is a lot weaker than my right wrist, so it forces me to bend my elbow. I have to work on that. I realize that, but I'm not there yet. I'm working on it. So anyway, that's for another day off. That's for another day. Anyways, hugely appreciated for you guys sticking around, watching my videos till the end. Love you guys. Peace. See you in the next one.